if you want to support the show, any of the shows, either this or whichever show, I'm not on right now because it's just a blanket ad for all of them, and the website, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com. In the description for any of the episodes of Beware of Spoilers, there is the option to donate. If you don't want to donate that way, you can donate directly through the website. We do have that, mwpnews.com. And if you don't want to support that way, then going to mwpnews.com will help out because we have ads there. We don't want to keep it, where there's a lot of ads. There's a few ads. But the point is, we want to make it so that way, we can sustain this for the long term. If people donate, we're never going to paywall anything, I don't think, as of right now. But you know, if people start donating, we'll start doing cooler and cooler stuff. Like donations are how we get to cover stuff like Tribeca and other, film festivals. And, we may be able to bring on more people to help out. So if you want to help out the show and you want more content from us, by all means, uh, even just going and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify helps out a lot. But that's it. That's the only ad we'll have on the podcast ever. But here's whatever podcast you're going to be listening to. Good morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. In a high quality episode, I know, surprising. We normally don't do this, but we got something early thanks to the people over at Adult Swim and Warner Brothers. We got to see the first 2 episodes of My Adventures with Superman Season 2. If you're listening to this on the day that this goes up, this is the day the embargo lifts. The show launches the full. It's not the full season. I don't know if it's just one episode or both episodes that I've seen come out on Sunday, but Sunday is the official launch. Saturday at midnight is the official launch day. Saturday the 25th at what's it called at midnight is the official launch Eastern time, which means they'll be on Max I think the next day. Um, a smarter version of me would have gotten these details before I went on, but I didn't, and here we are. So last year, I talked at length about My Adventures with Superman, how much I loved this show. I think that it did a great job of really taking the Superman mythos, which I think a lot of people are familiar with at this point, to a large degree. Um, and it took this and it really reinvigorated it, made it feel fresh. It took what we already knew and kind of like the characters were aged down slightly, and I think giving Clark and Lois and Jimmy this dynamic of being young intern reporters trying to make their way in Metropolis really did a lot to make it feel different. That and then taking Clark and Lois's relationship and putting it kind of front and center the way it did, um, really made it like and her trying to figure out who Superman is and all of that. It really humanized these characters in an interesting way. I think ending off the way it did was interesting too, with the way it kind of sets up like, oh, the Kryptonians are coming, and I think the way that it pays off is also kind of interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything here because the show's not out yet, but I think that works. What I can say about this show, everything that worked in the first season, they doubled down on these first 2 episodes, and it works just as well. And what I mean by that is, like, if in season 1 you enjoyed the way that they reimagined, established, like, DC characters, DC heroes and villains, and used them in different ways, you're gonna like what they're doing here. They do more of that, and it works very well. If you like Lois and Clark's relationship and the way that's characterized and the way they feel like adult human fleshed out characters, you're gonna like that. I was surprised with the amount of emotional maturity that they treated these 2 characters with over the course of these 2 episodes, because it really gives them a chance to actually talk about their emotions and have this relationship be in a healthy place which is not something you see very often. And I think that like it's not just about like there's a great sequence. I'm not going to spoil it, but like you know where Clark's like, I see what you're doing. I know what you're going to do. And she's like, no, I'm not. Like I'm watching you do it. And it's just this great thing of two people who are so in sync, just knowing each other in that way. And I think that was something that was really well executed in season one, and then doubled down in a really great way in season two. Um, what else did I want to say? That they're doing very well. I think the way they're handling um the Kryptonians is interesting. I think the idea of like all the designs continue to be top notch. I love the way these characters are drawn, and I love the new designs given to these iconic characters that we already know and how they're being redesigned to fit into this world neatly. Um, and that all continues in this season. I really love what they're doing with this new dynamic with Perry White too, as they're moving into these new roles with the Daily Planet. I think that's also very cool the way they're doing that, especially what they're doing with Jimmy. I think Jimmy has a great arc in the second episode where he's kind of like, I again love that he's calling himself Flamebird, um, and that's the name of his little channel that eventually I think at the end of the season when it got bought out um, by the Daily Planet, or became like a subsidiary of the Daily Planet, and the idea that like he's, there's a great moment where it's like he has to be in charge, which is not something he's used to, and what that means about you're running this division. I think we see an interesting development for Jimmy as a character here, and I'm interested to see how they take that. Um, what else have we got? Um, there's more that I wanted to talk about. I feel like I just can't remember what it was. I mean, there's so much in this show that just works so well. I feel like this is going to be a top contender for my show of the year when we get to the end of 2024. Because last year it was in the conversation. Like when I went through, it was like it came down to like this, Fiona and Cake. Um, what was the other big one? I mean, it ended up going to The Last of Us, but yeah, this is definitely a solid contender. Yet again, alongside the girls on the bus and X-Men '97. Um, do I think it's better? And for what this show is, I think this is better than X-Men '97. If I'm being honest, I think that this show does a better job of taking these characters and handling them differently to the point where this is a better show, I think, than X-Men '97, which is kind of just a straight adaptation of even the more esoteric, weird comic aspects. I think this is a better show than that because it's doing something unique, different, and still feeling completely in the spirit of who Superman is as a character. Um, but check it out when it hits Adult Swim this weekend and Max in the near future. I think it's going to be next, either at the simulcast or after. Um, but we'll wrap up there for today. And we'll be doing weekly episode discussions where we go more in depth in the spoilery territory. This is just overarching thoughts. Thanks to the people at Adult Swim who gave us the first two episodes to watch a little early. But we'll be doing weekly episode recaps, same as we do Doctor Who, same as we do X-Men '97, same as we will be doing next month, The Acolyte. But we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, which will be Furiosa later this week, have a great rest of your week.